Hi everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Well, welcome everyone to our 19th episode in our Final Fantasy IX playthrough series. If you have not been with us for long, or if maybe you just tuned in for the first time, episode 6 is where you want to go. It's where we start off the Final Fantasy IX series kind of introduction, and we're just been going through the story and everything. So just kind of give you a better sense of what our goal here is and what we're doing. So we're continuing on. We just broke out of Alexandria. We picked up Dagger, right? We found out all the nasty things that Brahne has planned for the most part. And we're moving forward. So we are now as a party of Vivi, Zidane, and Dagger again. And we're at Pinnacle Rock. Now, before we go any further, we did kind of say... I threw in a comment in the last one, like, oh, we won't stop with Steiner because we don't know what happened. We do know what happened. I mean, obviously, he left after the fight with the Black Mages and joined in with Beatrice and Freya and, you know, then kind of turned it around. Now he's fighting with Beatrice and having them both on the same side's pretty cool. But, you know, regardless, that's kind of all that happened. So that was kind of a my bad. But moving on, Pinnacle Rocks, man.
About.
Yeah, lots to talk.
Exactly.
Moving on, Alex.
So
I'm talking, Alex. Let me get through this. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. You know, we're in Pinnacle Rocks here. We learned that, you know, the giant bug thing, he ran away or whatever. They get together and then they're visited by a man. But let's, before we get to him, I jumped ahead. Before we get to him, I thought it was pretty cool, man. You referenced it way back at, like, I don't know, that must have been like episode 7 or 8, about the soundtrack in the Evil Forest, man. We're seeing it again, aren't we?
Yep. So that's what I was trying to refer to. I'm always trying not to throw out too many spoilers and things like that for those who are listening that maybe haven't played through this game or are playing through as we're going through it as well. But yeah, so interesting enough, this area has the exact same Evil Forest, Danger in the Forest song, and kind of like a calm tune. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's sort of like mystical and eerie at the same time, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I really like it. It's just a really good song for sure. So just kind of one little quick side note I tossed in here just because, you know, I'm myself playing through the sequences that we talk about. And man, I looked at the gear again. I'm like, okay, we just fought more bosses, if you can imagine that. I was lucky enough to get that nice staff. And so I gave it to Vivi. And so, you know, just check your gear. Make sure you are equipping the best things because we did just go through kind of a boss fight marathon. But some question I have to you, man. You know, you're at this spot. It's been a long time. You kind of had a little taste of it earlier before Steiner left. But what's it like just kind of having all the initial characters back together?
It's interesting, right? I mean, so at this point, you've got Dagger, you've got Zidane, and you've got Vivi. So I don't know. I mean, some of these battles, you know, so in this area we'll get to, there's the Zagnol and secret bats and things like that. So some kind of tough enemies. And you've really only got one physical attacker, and Dagger really isn't that great, you know what I mean? Like, you can have her attack with the racket, and then Vivi, of course. So this is kind of where MP usage starts to become a little bit of an issue.
Yes. Vivi's your kind of ace in the hole here. If you use any of his tier 2 magics, it you know, does a big amount, and so it should take out quite a bit. I like how they're very reminiscent here between that initial kind of introduction of battle in the Evil Forest. We got the same song, we got the same party.
That's right.
You know, where we got them all together again. And it's just a kind of, like you said, it's just kind of a like, all right, well, let's go on a nice stroll. You know, I mean, it's just, it's so interesting.
Well, and something I just want to say too that's so funny to me is it feels like them taking Steiner out of the party is almost like strategic because they know Steiner he's just a beast, man. He is just a beast, and especially with him and Vivi, you'll notice through this game, they don't let you have that combination for a while.
Well, and I mean, just, you know, having Dagger back, it's been such a long time, and she's probably the least used main character at this point in battle. But regardless, we're moving through Pinnacle Rock. You move, well, actually, I don't think you can move. It just goes straight to the scene. You got this dude who just starts, like, he's floating. He appears in front of you. I don't care what his name is, okay? Let's call it what it is. That is Morrid. I swear, that is Morrid, man. I got some screenshots to prove it.
Totally.
I don't know if he was just put on a farce with his coffee little deal he had going on, but that, he shows up to you. It's apparently Ramuh or Rama, or I don't really know how you pronounce it, but
he achieved coffee enlightenment and went to the turned into Ramuh.
Dude, that's why he has a giant mound, right?
Seriously, that is so funny though. It's all about, these older ones too, like the older Final Fantasies. I love how they reuse character models and things like that, but they don't, it's just like it's the same model as Morid.
Yeah.
So we'll use him again. He's not a big character or whatever.
No.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, because then they put all the effort into, this bearded wonder walking around. I mean, like when he's in his real form, it's just like, whoa, dude, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like goodness. But regardless, okay, so you meet him. He wants to test you in a way. He he knows everything about Dagger, obviously. We will get to all that as we progress through the story, but he wants you to go find pieces of a story. There's one in each kind of scene, if you will, within the forest. There we go. And you just got to go and, he's kind of invisible, but really, it's in very obvious places. You collect them all, and then kind of just what's the order, man? What do we got?
So yeah, after you collect him, gives you the different piece of the story. You go and meet him. You talk to him, and he just basically wants you to put it in the right order. So that's part of the challenge. So the 5 pieces of the hero's story are beginning, cooperation, silence, human, and hero. This is why it's not particularly difficult to get this in the right order because beginning is beginning. It's not that surprising. Then it goes, I believe it actually does go cooperation. That's the story.
Yes.
Silence. And human and hero, it doesn't actually matter which one you go for. That is the very last piece of the story and is kind of like your opinion on the story, whether what he did was human instinct and natural, or whether he was trying to be a hero, things like that.
Yeah, and it just basically just changes minor dialogue, and options there for you. But it progresses it either way, and you get a Peridot reward as well, which teaches you, that summons. So now you can summon the Thunder God, into battle. If you so choose. If you want to get the AP starting on that, go for it. There's also, with Dagger, especially at this point, goodness, you should be trying to catch up on weapons right now still. You should probably be
so many
catching up on just tons of stuff. So it's kind of just whatever you want at this point. On kind of that note of gear and things, nothing really interesting here within this. It's a very small area to begin with. You do get the ogre. Well, honestly, you've been able to synthesize that for a very long time now. Yeah. Mithril vest, mithril armlet, you've been able to have those in there, it's kind of just what it is at this point. Something I was thinking about, though, with the ogre is, they finally do give it to you. So if you never did walk into that synthesis shop, or maybe you're like me in my playthrough, and I finally have just been able to start using the ogre because I have finally mastered everything leading up to it. It's ogre itself isn't even mastered. And it's just kind of interesting because if you do use ogre when you first get in Lindblum, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, you feel like a god. You are one-shotting everything just about. It is amazing. Yeah. But at this point, the point when they finally do actually just give it to you in a chest, it's fallen behind, to be honest. Steiner's doing 850 plus usually with Icebrand. Zidane, he's getting about 300 to 400, so he is like substantially behind.
It's always, I don't know, it's kind of weird game design, I feel like, because, going back, you get the Mithril Dagger.
Yep.
And Bandit is a really nice auto ability to put on. It's useful throughout the entire game, especially in boss battles when you're going to be using Zidane to steal those rare items and so on and so forth. It takes forever to learn. I think it's like 40 AP for that. So the Mithril Daggers, and they're pretty weak. And then the Butterfly Sword has the What's That ability, which in and of itself is pretty garbage, but the reason why with Zidane you want to learn all of his action abilities is because each one of those unlocks a trance ability for him. So if you don't have one of those abilities, he'll just be missing one of those, which isn't the end of the world, but it is what it is.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, if you're probably following the general consensus of most people and liking to do the majority of everything that you can, and having the majority of everything. And so, yeah, like you said, I mean, just to get those trances,
Right.
regardless, you should be caught up fully all the way to Ogre now. So, and you get one. So what kind of enemies do we have here? A little note before actually we do get into the whopping 2 enemies we have here is that
Right.
this is another one of those areas where the screens themselves are just so small that oftentimes you can get through. I had one battle, that was it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got all the treasures. It wasn't like I just went straight to everything, and when I was wandering around. And they're just so small. So if you don't encounter anything, well, there you go. You had a nice walk through the forest. If you do encounter something, Alex, what do we got?
So yeah, the enemies are pretty easy here. You've got Zagnol again, which is a little bit of a flashback to Lindblum's Festival of the Hunt. He was the final boss there.
Right.
And he's a little bit different this time, I think. I think his stats are somewhat different. His level might be different. But he just comes with the standard attacks. He's got Heave. And I didn't actually know this. I had to look this up. But Electrocute, he uses a move called Electrocute that allows him to use Thundera.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's not that great. And then Seeker Bats are the other enemies. You usually see them in pairs of 2. And so they can just basically inflict darkness on you. They can use poison, all that kind of stuff. So not anything crazy, but you can level up and get some experience with Dagger maybe at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's the thing. None of them are going to kind of give you a game over. And Secret Bat's maybe the little more annoying one just because you will have to use some sort of item or something to get rid of those status effects. But once you want to leave, you go to kind of the back screen down and, well, I mean, I guess you already kind of did at this point if you finish the story and all that.
Right.
If you do jump down, you cannot ever return to this. Not that there's really anything here that is missable, but, you just can't. So, kind of say goodbye, so to speak, do a little look and, walk away. Morri, he gives you some words of wisdom before you leave, right? What is it? Dagger, she runs away. She runs ahead, rather. And Zidane and Vivi are just talking. And then, Morri, the Thunder God Beanmaker, is just like, he's talking to them about her summoning power. And they're like, yeah, we'll protect her. But it's kind of like, what about all the summoning stuff, guys? You're just going along with that too? Like, they don't know anything about any of that. Maybe it's just, woofed right over their head. But it was just kind of interesting because it's like, we actually don't really know what that does mean at this point.
Right. Good point.
Before we continue on, because we're about to get to some hot and heavy things, we're going to do our bold move. So let's do it. All right, man. Bold move. So as I described last episode, just in case anyone is new here, we do a bold move short segment. We might be switching it out with something else pretty soon here. We're not too sure, but we just pick something, some moment, or just kind of some element of any of the Final Fantasies that we thought was a bold move. So Alex, I want you to go ahead and start us out for us here.
All right, so keeping things on topic with Final Fantasy IX, I was thinking about this because we went over this recently in an episode. It was really a bold move for Kina to try and run all the way down the Clara tree trunk, instead of just, I don't know, using one of the teleporters or something like that, like the rest of the gang. She's just like, I know like heights, and then how in the heck? Well, dude, we don't know if she made it, but you know what?
Here's my theory. I was thinking about it. If you did catch our last episode, I think it was, or maybe 2 ago, we talked about how the heck did Kina get down the Clara tree in time before it was destroyed, man? Dude, she had to have taken the sand pit, the swirling ice cream. She had to have taken that. Anyways, my bold move. You know what? It kind of actually goes out to all Final Fantasies that I've played, at least, and I'm sure all of them, for always allowing you just to bust into homes and rob people blind. It's never an issue in any Final Fantasy. You walk into a town, what do you naturally always do? You start kicking in doors. Where's the treasure? Knock, knock, open up, and you just walk right in most of the time.
Yeah, it's so funny in the Final Fantasy universe how they do that, and there's like parts in I think Final Fantasy VII where they actually acknowledge that you just broke into somebody's house and things like that.
Yeah.
It's so funny how you do that. You literally go in there, they've got like a little chest with something in there, you just steal their stuff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's hysterical, man. What a bold move of them to allow us that kind of freedom to get away with
Oh.
robbery.
Oh, what are we learning from these games, anyways?
Yeah. But all right, those were our bold moves for this episode, and let's see what's going on with Lindblum. So you get out of Pinnacle Rock, and I guess you can kind of just overlook and see Lindblum, right? Because that's what they're doing. It kind of goes to a nice cinematic, and we're looking out. They actually get passed overhead with an airship, and dude, what happens, man? What's going on around here?
So the first thing they see is the Red Rose.
Yeah.
And you know what that means. Queen Brahne and Alexandria, they are starting their assault on Lindblum. And so the very first thing they do, they're just bombarding Lindblum Castle with shells from all the ships and things like that.
Yeah.
They send in soldiers, they send in the Black Mages, and this time apparently the Black Mages have like these wrist rockets or something like that. It's
Dude.
crazy.
So I saw your note there, and I didn't want to say anything to you over these days about it, but what do you mean wrist rockets? I don't understand.
Well, okay, they've got like those little bracelets or something that are shooting rockets.
No,
Like
really?
little...
I never saw that.
Yeah.
I saw them shooting fireballs out of their hands.
Was
I
that
saw
what it
that.
was? Oh, okay. My bad.
Wrist rockets.
Shooting something. I
figured that's
like
what you're referring to. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
No, they're fireballs. But I will say, man, where was that firepower when we were fighting them? Dude, they're blowing holes in brick walls with their fireballs. Like, and to us, it does 150. It's like, ouch, man, what the heck?
150 damage. That's really gonna end the game.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's like you gotta crank up that damage if you're gonna start blowing holes in roofs and dropping in. But
seriously,
regardless, it is a pretty intense little stream. There's a couple of them kind of in order. In between is Zidane and Dagger and Vivi talking, so they're kind of sprinkled in. But all in all, dude, an awesome just kind of scene. We see our second summon, and which one is it?
So this time, Brahne decides to use Atomos on Lindblum, which is pretty interesting. Atomos is, I don't think what other Final Fantasies, but anyways, it's like a gravity summon. So it just basically pulled everything out and just destroyed the whole place.
Yeah. Well, again, he's like what? He's like a giant just blob that is sucking in air.
Hard to explain.
Is pretty much weird. What it is, and it's so strong that it's ripping up castle walls, and as we'll find, destroys a whole district. So
right.
It's pretty interesting. Obviously Dagger she's going through some emotions here, but just something I thought about with that is, man, she is like the last standing believer for her mother. Now, granted, it's her mother, and apparently they, the king and queen were really good, before these things I'm trying not to talk about and dance around, but, and so she is the last one standing, but I think she finally gets it. Yeah,
it's definitely starting to hit home. So, she kind of has a breakdown moment there.
Yeah.
And Zidane's trying to comfort her and everything. Yeah, I mean, things have been pretty rough recently. I mean, they did the extraction process on her, stole all of her Eidolons. Now the queen is just systematically going through, and first it was Burmecia, next it was Clara, now it's Lindblum. And so it's becoming pretty clear that Queen Brahne is just after domination of the Mistcontinent.
Yeah, pretty much. Just take out everything using the summons to make sure it happens. The only way now is forward into Lindblum. The first thing that happens, they do ask Vivi to hide at the entrance. Kind of makes sense, I mean, there are a bunch of citizens around. There's a bunch of mixture between residents and soldiers, and
I also just think it's kind of interesting how when they ask Vivi to hide, you're at that little entrance area of the castle. He just kind of like walks off screen.
Yeah, like where's he going?
Yeah, they knew that it's like, well, there's nothing to hide behind, so you just, I don't know, stand outside or something. But basically, so now you've got Zidane and Dagger. The very first thing you go in, there's an interesting conversation at that first section. You've got the inn to the left. You've got the, what do you call it? The heli taxi or whatever, the little taxi cab.
That is currently down right now.
And you get an interesting little conversation, a little dialogue with some of the local residents over a black mage, where they're contemplating, should we kill it, or
Yeah.
they want to kill him, and then of course Zidane jumps in. He's like, no, no, it's still a human, and or not still a human, but
I think he says it's a living being or
it's a
something like
living
that.
being. Thank you.
Yeah, or
Yeah. Um,
it's something like that. But I read your note about that before I saw it, and I was like, that's kind of true. He did. I mean,
yeah.
he's definitely Zidane is not one to be vindictive about anything, or cruel or at all. And so, it's kind of I don't think that's in his nature, but just I think spending time with Vivi and kind of piecing it all together, he's kind of figuring it all out. And so
Yeah.
that is kind of interesting. The inn is open though. It doesn't really matter at what point you stop in these kind of little side areas, such as an inn or a shop or something. Just make sure you do before you leave, and we'll get to that in a moment here. But the inn is open if you stop in. You can read the review on the front desk. It says it says that like he and his wife are vacationing, and then a war broke out, and he demands his money back. And it's just like, dude, I agree with him. It's like, come on, man, I
Yeah.
came here for a nice weekend, and now we're getting bombarded. Like, give me
Yeah.
my money back. I didn't pay for this.
And that would be rough. Wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, yeah. But if you do go upstairs where the Moogle is at, it is Sereno, and you do have or rather, you have a letter from Zorino, and it's to Munin, and Munin's here, so you can deliver that. You yourself get a letter from Ruby, and she's just talking about how she's still trying to do the whole actor thing and have her little theater back home in Ravenasser. Well, now it's her home in Ravenasser, and she can't find any talent, and she would even take that narcissist Lowell, and it's apparently this dude is famous, or well,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess Ruby is from Lindblum as well, right? So
Yeah. And to all the listeners, you guys remember who that was? That was Wannabe Moogle 2, Kupo.
yeah, yeah, and himself, which everyone loved, and then also was the wannabe Moogle too.
Right.
But just kind of funny dialogue there. You can also pick up a letter from Moonty, or from Moodin to Moonty or Mooney, or I don't know what the heck it is, but
Moonty.
you will get one, so that's the one you have.
So if you keep going up to where the pickle cart is, there used to be like a little area at the back there, sort of the top left.
Yeah.
You could go to a church over there and everything. So at this point in the game, that whole area has been completely destroyed, and you never get to go back to that place. But if you go over to the rubble and go and check it out, there is a nice card over there. And this is a point in the game where this card is really good. I like to make a save and then try and get one with good arrows on it, because
Yeah,
you only
yeah.
get this one time. It's the Lindblum card. It's a
And
very good
honestly, if you've
defensive card.
been picking up these cards as some of the side things we've been doing, you should be kind of getting a somewhat decent hand going here.
Yeah,
Granted, I
definitely.
mean, of course, it's literally all in the arrows, and just if the card's gonna grow its stats or not.
Yeah, and something we'll probably talk about later, but I've definitely noticed that there's a trade-off between arrows and the strength of the card. So
Gotcha.
typically, yeah, from what I've experienced, is the more arrows it has, it'll be slightly weaker, versus if it only has like 3 or 4, it'll be kind of like a pretty strong card.
Strong
But
card. Okay.
you know, I always just like to get one that at least has like one whole side covered, so that you can put it in a corner and it can be a
Yeah.
good defensive card.
Well,
So
and not to kind of get down this rabbit trail, but that's interesting because, I kind of play the same way. And you know why? It's because, man, we played triple triad. That's what you did.
I,
You kind of played a slightly more defensive. You had the first move, you know what I mean? But you also always built your hand around all directions, not each card doing all of them, And so, yeah, getting those arrows right in 9 can be hard, but when it does work out, you're just increasing your chances to lose pretty much because that's all you do in the game. So, anyways, if you do go to the card dude's house, right there, you get the Lindblum card. If you kind of just backtrack right there on that street, that door on the corner, if you go in, you can go rob his house. He's standing. I say rob, he's standing right there and he literally does not stop you. So, I mean, whose
oh,
fault is that, really? You can
I
get an ether, a phoenix pinion, and that's kind of it for right now.
Yeah, those treasures, they kind of refill through the story. I think it's every different disc
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
refills them, and you can just go in there and keep stealing his stuff. So as long as he doesn't mind, then I guess it's all good. Um,
Yeah,
so
seriously.
another thing you can do at this little square area, outside of that guy's house, he's stolen his stuff. Can go over and there's a little exclamation mark by the pickle cart, and it says something like the stench of pickles is in the air or something, and all the
See,
guys
no, I totally
got
forgot to do
gazelle
that.
pickles. Yeah, all the gazelle pickles are all strewn about.
Yeah, I'll have to pour
And then you
pickles.
go on to the next screen to where all the shops are, and you get a little scene.
Yeah, so you won't actually be able to move around here yet. It's I forget this dude's name. What is it? It's Counselor.
Uncle Artania.
Yeah, there you go. That's a better one. But he takes you to see your good old Uncle Cid. Because, I mean, obviously, if you think back to last time Dagger left, it was under she escaped, is what happened. And so that's kind of a big deal for her returning. It wasn't in the land like they knew she was coming, and she just out of the blue after an attack. Hey, what's up, Uncle Cid? So, anyway, she's there, though. I like how Cid kind of gives you the rundown of everything. He fills in a lot of story blanks, so we won't go too much into this right here, this conversation. But I just like to mention that right now they're just calling Kuja the weapons dealer. Like a very modern
Yeah,
term, or maybe I guess, I don't know, but a weapons dealer.
that is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, because he's been the one supplying Braun. We can kind of assume at this point that there's some tie between him and Braun. He's
Yeah.
been kind of helping her in this whole conquest. This is how he's going to be called from now on, because we still don't know who this dude
Yeah,
is.
we don't know anything about it. But
Right.
they did agree that they do need to take out Kuja, and that's what they got. Cid gives you 3K gil, and he's like, yo, here you go. And you're free to roam. But before we roam free within the kind of somewhat destroyed city, let's do our rank 15 seed trivia quest. I was going to say quest. Not a quest, it's a quiz. Our rank 15 seed trivia test. All right, man. You may have been passing them lately, but not anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not making my goal to try to make you fail. I'm just trying to think of some new good questions. So, our first question will be on Final Fantasy VIII. You can get the Shiva card from Wedge and Timber.
False.
Our next question will be on Final Fantasy VII. In the Emerald Weapon Battle, you have a total of 20 minutes to win.
True.
Final Fantasy X, Auron's Tornado Overdrive needs 8 jet spheres to unlock it.
Oh man, I think it's less than that. I'm gonna go with false.
Alright, Final Fantasy IX, we got the Abandoned Beach Chocograph is the first one that you have available at the Mist Continent.
Abandoned beach. False.
Final Fantasy XII, you can poach undead enemies.
I don't think if I've ever even tried, but I would think so. True. Go with true.
Alright, we're moving on. Here's the thing, man. You're making 10-2 really hard to ask you questions about. Because I don't know that much about that game. So I don't know any crazy things to ask about.
Oh man.
So I'm trying to keep it a little more simpler
Yeah.
on the other side. Because if you don't know anything about Alex, he's doing New Game Plus to try to get a lot of good, crazy stuff in that. So just the
Been
amount of
playing a lot of
playthroughs.
X2 recently.
Yeah, and doing things that, we've just never done before. And so my question to you, man, is when Yuna is a trainer, her animal is a wolf.
False. Well, I mean, it's tricky, man.
Think about the wolf, enemy character models in that
Oh
game.
yeah,
and
no,
then-
false. False.
Okay. Final Fantasy 13 in the Land of Paradigms. We got the Rally, which is a 2-person one. So the Rally 2-person paradigm is when both characters are synergists.
Percentages. False.
Alright, man, let's recap. So Final Fantasy 8, no, you do not get the Shiva card from Wedge. Who do you get it from?
Get it from. Oh shoot! What's
What
his
color
name?
shirt is he wearing?
Is the blue
Yeah,
on Zone or
Zone.
Watts? You get
It's
it on
Zone.
the
Yeah.
Seed chip.
No, it's Zone. That's what I was like. It's the dude in the blue shirt. I'm pretty sure, at least. Okay, here, don't fool me.
Yeah.
Quote. I just know it's not Wedge, so I know that.
Yeah, no.
Final Fantasy VII, the Emerald Weapon Battle. You only get 20 minutes to win, because I mean either way you're dying. So, Final Fantasy X, you got it correct, but under the wrong pretenses again. So, Orange Tornado Overdrive. You need 10 Jet Spheres. It's the best one. The Tornado one, it's the last one.
Was it?
You need 10.
Yeah, I always forget that.
You said false. I said 8, so
Yeah.
I wasn't correct. It was a false statement. So you got it correct in that sense, but no, you need the full 10 for it.
I forgot that was the last one.
Yeah, dude, I mean, it's been a very long time since I made it to that point in that game.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't remember his overdrives, man. I just always remember just blowing freaking, like, I don't know, whiskey
like
or something on my sword and, you know, doing stuff like that. I guess that's
Shooting Star was good. Yeah, Banishing Blade was the one you were thinking of, and I think I was thinking of that too.
Dude, that's like 40-year Japanese scotch there, man. I mean, that stuff's gonna burn like crazy when it hits, you know, into the... No, it's actually gonna be the other way. Anyways, Final Fantasy IX. The Abandoned Beach Chocograph is the first one available at the Mist Continent. That was the thing. It's actually true, man. That's the first one that you can encounter. You said false.
You mean the Outer Continent?
What? Yeah, whatever. The one that we're going to. Which one did I say?
That's what it was.
All
okay,
right.
yeah, Mist Continent. That's why I was confused, because I was thinking of.
Then you would be correct on that one. Yeah, my bad.
No worries. Okay, no worries.
See, I can't even remember
So
these things. I'm trying to keep all the stuff.
On the Mist Continent.
I'm trying to keep all the stuff from rattle around inside my brain. All right, Final Fantasy 12. You can poach on dead. Now, here's the thing. As you were saying it, I guess that's too broad of a term, right? Because I don't know if you can. You can't poach skeletons. I know that, man. I've tried. It doesn't work. Either that or maybe it just fails
I've never
every time.
tried.
But all of them, we're gonna leave that as a question mark. I'm not entirely sure.
It's a good one though.
All right, because I haven't tested it enough. Yeah, I haven't tested that enough. In my experience, I have not been able to, but doesn't mean all of them. All right, Final Fantasy X-2. When Yuna's a trainer, it's not a wolf. No, it's like a little pooch or something, man. It's a little doggo.
What's his name? Diagoro. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Ojimbo's little sidekick dog.
Yep. And then the last one, Final Fantasy 13. You said false. It is true. The rally two-person paradigm is when you have two synergists.
I don't know those paradigms.
Come on, man, memorize it.
Yeah, I know, right?
But regardless, even with my screw-ups and whatnot, you still passed, man. So you got the majority, and dude, you got rank 15. You're just climbing up the ranks.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You're gonna be catching Squall in no time out in Seed. You're gonna have to start earning your work here, though, man. You're gonna have to start doing some missions or something. So.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, hopefully they'll have hot dogs at the cafeteria at this point for somebody's rank 15. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be like, man, screw this garden.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm leaving. But all right, that is our Seed trivia. We're gonna go ahead and finish off and see what is going on in the streets of Lindblum. So you are free to roam. Now, if you ever want to not roam anymore, all you gotta do is talk to the literal titled man. That's his name. It's man. Could even give him like David, or even like Alexandrian, or Lindblum man, or anything like that. Nope,
it just couldn't give him a part in the story. They're just this random dude standing by the fountain in the square.
Like, hey you. You're the donut guy, right? Just come stand right here, man. Just stand right here for the scene. Don't worry about it. Stand right there. Just say, do you want to leave? Okay, that's good. Wipe the crumbs off your shirt, man. Come on, you got donuts all over now. It's like, anyways.
Yeah, this guy, basically, I don't think... We got the 3,000 gil, and basically, this guy, you talk to him whenever you want to leave, because it's really hard to get out with the Alexandrian soldiers, and it being under the occupation of Alexandria now.
Of course. And
so this is your time to shop.
And if you do go to the synthesis shop, there's a few new items. Mostly it's all the same, but there is Exploda, I guess is what it's called. That's what it looks like. You got a beret, I think, right? and
Yeah.
a power belt.
Um,
Which I put power belt on there. You should have already had one from Steiner, but if you do want an extra one, go for it.
yeah, another one's pretty good in Barrette, if I'm remembering correctly, is just an important one to get, not really for the abilities. I think it has like Cura on it and something else, but it's a component for a later synthesis item. So it's a good idea to pick one of those up now, although it'll be available for quite a while, so don't worry about it.
Gotcha. All right. And as you said, it does have Cura, so in that sense, not that Cura doesn't already, usually get most people up to max HP anyways, but hey, you want
Yeah.
overkill, get some Cura. I went and looked at the gear shop. I didn't notice if there was anything new. Is there anything still missable at this point that you better scoop up
Um,
soon?
Well, so the stuff that I mentioned last time in Lindblum, like the javelin, silver gloves,
Right.
etc., those are all gone at this point. The stuff that's new in here isn't going to be missable until quite a while, really. Yeah, they do have some new stuff that you can pick up.
I think it's mostly everything that you still have at this point. Like, there's
Right. So,
nothing really that much better.
no, but if you didn't steal the oak staff from, shoot, what's his name? Ravalamungo or
Yeah, yeah.
last boss, the snake boss that we fought in
Yep.
Gargan. You can buy that here, so that's definitely a must-have. I would get that before you head off because it's a long journey after this.
Yes, and it's a good staff. I mean, it is. So
Definitely.
just look there, upgrade anything you need to. There is one ATE here, and it is missable. So if you are going for that full achievement, this one, make sure you get it. You can't miss it, so to speak. If you walk out of that square, so after you go to the stores, walk out, boom, it'll be right there on that screen. I don't know if it continues on other screens, but it'll be right there always. Go ahead and watch it. It's called the Third Jewel. I won't really explain about it. You can just check it out. But that one is
Yeah.
missable. Make sure you watch it. And then at this point, if you already went to the end, you already got the Lindblum card. Really, the only thing to do now is to check out the industrial district, right?
Yep. And surprise, surprise, it is completely destroyed.
No.
So I know it's kind of sad, actually. Honestly, I remember the first couple of times I played this game. It is kind of sad because it's like that was where you had the little pub where
Yeah,
Zidane, way back when we first got to
and Freya.
Lindblum, you could go there, yeah. And so no more dark stew that he can try. The chick that he asked out on the airship, I guess she's just
She's
missing,
sucked
MIA or
into
something.
oblivion. Yeah, I mean, who knows where those people went?
So all of that stuff is gone. Fortunately, though, the theater district is still there. So there's a couple things to do there, right?
Yes, so the theater district. First thing to do is stop in the artist's house. Why would you not? It's the only house right there in that kind of first screen once you get off of the kind of railway thing. And it's kind of interesting. There's an ore in there. Nothing. I mean, ore is ore. It's like, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take it, sure, whatever. But it's not like it's good by
Gonna
any
change your
means at this
life.
point. Yeah. There's a soldier in with the artist. If you remember when we were here the first time, he was painting a painting, and now there's an Alexandrian soldier, like kind of checking out his work.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of goes. She's really praising it, and then have I don't know. It's a little short, little dialogue. I just kind of thought it was funny. I'm trying to talk to everyone, man, because I've never done
Yeah.
this, and it's just so much adds to it.
When the Alexandrian soldiers are looking that good, I won't complain too much about that. So,
All right. It's so yeah. If you continue on to kind of like the hideout screen, you can't go any further than that. But if you go to the hideout screen, you will see Lowell. If you now, I've never done this, so don't spoil it for me either, man. But I don't think I've ever talked to him. I don't think I've ever kind of pieced it all together and stuff. And so if you do tell him, or if you go talk to him, you'll tell him about Ruby's Theater.
oh
And he runs
yeah,
off, and then it was just kind of funny because there was like a little Alexandrian soldier groupie who just runs after him as well.
I forgot about that part. Yeah, and then other than that, you can go back to the old Tantalus hideout. It's kind of funny. I guess you got a point where those kids they keep refilling the treasure chests in there and just go in there and steal the money. And it's kind of funny how it works too because there's three chests in there, all with gil, and they refill every disc.
Yeah,
And there's one with a small amount, one with a large amount, and one with a medium amount, and it's just it kind of goes up as you progress the story. But somebody keeps refilling those chests.
It's got to be someone, and let's be
Yeah.
real, the gang is not there. You know, they are not there. They are off many other places, as we know and have seen.
Right.
So it's got to be those two kids, and we just go in, hey, what's up? Oh, we're just gonna help ourselves, thanks, and peace later.
Thanks for that. Yeah, and one other note about the theater district that's kind of interesting is that little performance square area that was down the stairs from the Tantalus hideout
Yeah,
is completely gone now too. So there's certain areas that have just been destroyed, and that's pretty much it for those areas. You visit them once in disc one, and then
yeah,
that's it.
that's that. And as far as Lindblum goes, that's kind of it too. So if you do want to
Yeah.
go ahead and head back, talk to the man, and it's like you want to leave the castle, but you gotta kind of leave very sneakily through the lift in the what I guess like the royal district or whatever it was, you know. But you gotta take Cid's lift
Yeah.
is essentially what you have to do. You don't actually have to do anything. It's all pretty much just dialogue and, you know, the game running itself. But once you do get down, Cid continues the conversation, and he does some fancy oglop work. He gives you some map. He does, you know,
Yeah.
some things here and there, and that's kind of it. Off you go.
Yep. It was kind of funny too when he gives Zidane the map. It's like, I got something very important to give you, and then Zidane's like, it's a rag.
It's a
And he's
rag,
just like,
yeah.
you big dope, that's a ancient map of the world or something.
It's a rag.
So,
Yep,
yeah, it's
that
a
is pretty
rag.
funny.
Thanks, man.
But you take the little cart or whatever to Dragon's Gate. Very
Yeah,
familiar scene, you know, very familiar scene from when you left off to the
right.
grotto back in disc one. And so kind of the same thing. There is a bandana that is top right of the screen, kind of hidden by the stone stairs that you have to walk down. I mean, you could buy them at this point,
Yeah,
but hey, why not pick it up? You do have
it's nice
Muti
to have
though,
extra.
and so you can deliver that letter from Mudin,
Nice.
and he doesn't actually give you anything, and so you don't have any letters at this point.
Yep. So if you delivered all of them, I think the one that I always used to miss was that one to Sereno. So
Yeah.
that's a tricky one because the timing's really a very, very short time frame to be able to do that. And if you miss it, hold on to that letter forever. I guess, Sereno never gets it.
Yep.
So,
And well, that is actually going to do it for us. Your party's ready to go out, and we'll just we'll leave that for next time. So, as always, we want to thank you so much for spending time with us, hanging out, listening to us. We know we've been gaining a little bit more followers lately, and we just want to say we thank you all. I mean, this has been a lot of fun. We didn't know how long we would keep it going, and here we are going strong. So, we
yeah.
enjoyed a whole lot. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. It's the same handle, Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. We just kind of post screenshots of content that goes along with our episodes. We just really like doing it that way. It's a lot of fun, and it opens up a lot of dialogue. So check us out there, and you can also check out everything else about us at finalstopforfinalfantasytalks.com. It's our website. Have blocks, put our music in there and other things. So that's about it. I'm Mark,
I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.